in the building. Maliika, we got Q. Welcome back, Q. Hopefully everything is good. We're gonna get Boog on the line and hopefully Jordan and some other people on the line later today. But I guess we'll start off. Let me ask both of y'all this: who do y'all have winning the WNBA championship this year?
New York Liberty, damn it. I mean, I'm a New York Liberty fan since the beginning of the New York Liberty. So for me, this has to be our year. I'm also a Nets fan, so I need this. Um, I need this to get me through, which is going to be a horrifying season probably, because we're trying to be in the lottery with the Nets. So I need the Liberty to come through. I need them to redeem themselves after last year in the finals. I need this. So the semifinals starts tomorrow, and I mean, this is not going to be an easy series. I just think the Aces. I mean, we can't judge the Aces from the regular season. Chelsea wasn't healthy, and they just seemed out of rhythm, out of sync. I think that they really been playing well these last. I think they're gelling at the right time. Chelsea Gray looks healthy, and I think that makes them. This is a whole new season here.
Well, let me.
We can't look at, oh, we beat them we swept them in the regular season. It doesn't matter now because they're a different team now.
Well, let me ask you this. So that's actually why I wanted. So Q, who is your pick? And I'm gonna lead off into our first question. So who is your or second question? Who is your pick, Q?
My pick has always been who it's been since the beginning of the season. The Aces.
Hmm.
All
I
right.
respect that pick. I respect it.
You
Yeah.
know. And
I'm
I
gonna.
understand
You can
I
you.
understand I understand her Malika's perspective on needing the
I'm coming
championship.
from a fan perspective. I'm coming from a strictly fan perspective.
But people at hell need water too. So like, but you don't always get what you want. So
That's very true.
you
That's very
know,
true.
I
Let me
just
ask y'all this then. Let me ask both of y'all this. So for this series, what do you think of the top three things that each team will need if they're gonna win? Like the biggest factors for each of the teams. And for the
For
record,
Le-
I'm going
for,
Vegas too.
for the Liberty, Leonie Fibich um needs they need to, Leonie Fibich is not a regular rookie. She comes from playing overseas and she's won awards overseas already. I need her to remember that in the playoff. And she's also played in the playoffs overseas. I need her to remember that and stay out of foul trouble. Team could because of her length and her defense she brings on the court. Teams know that she's that player that really has been a six man for us and helped us get the number one record in the first place. They are definitely going to go after her. So she needs to play smart and not get into foul trouble. I think number two, Sabrina's shot and Brianna Stewart's shot needs to fall. Stewie to me has been a little inconsistent when it comes to. Um, oh, you guys are live. I see.
We're live. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're live. And then Malika on TikTok, they're saying this. They're asking for you to speak up. So you got
Oh, okay.
your first matter
Um,
was
can y'all
feedback.
hear me better now?
I will.
I can always hear you.
I can. Yeah, we can hear you. But there's everybody on TikTok there like, oh, but she said she couldn't hear you. But you said your first factor was feed bitch.
The first
Feed.
factor is Speedbit. Second factor actually is Stewie. I need Stewie to be consistent with her shot. Her defense is always there, but sometimes on offense, um, her shot sometimes isn't going down, and we just need Stewie to be Stewie. We need her to be Stewie, and we need John Quell to remember she's a center. Sometimes she's shooting threes and she's not getting in the paint, and then you have Asia as a beast when it comes to the boards. We need her and Stewie also to be a presence in the paint. Because Asia is Asia, best player in the game, period, bar none. Um, I respect and she's my favorite player, but when she plays the Liberty, it is what it is. Third, I would say our bench as a whole, team play. I felt like last year we didn't have the strongest bench. This year I feel like our bench is better and I need them to play like they've been playing all season, and just be that catalyst. Sabrina, and I know you said three, but Sabrina, her shot hasn't been consistent all season. I know that she scored like 36 the last game, but if you look at her last season, the whole season, while her play has improved and she gets to the bucket, if her three isn't falling, I need her to remember that in the playoffs. She knows how to get to the bucket. She knows how to get to the bucket if her shot's not falling. I need her to remember that floater and remember those things when she's playing. So those are four things we need, in my opinion.
Q, I mean, if you want to add on, or if you want to go on to that.
I think just in the game of basketball, the one of the most important things that are kind of like it's kind of underrated in a winning aspect, but controlling the boards, getting offensive and decent defensive rebounds. If you control the boards,
Yeah.
most likely in every occasion you're gonna win the game.
True.
Um, and I think that if all teams keep that in mind and they show those extra little intangible traits that a player can have, such as like hustle and perseverance, then those are things that are going to help you control the boards. I think every team needs to stick to their identity, um, meaning don't try to get caught up in playing the other team's game. Because if you're trying to play the other team's game, you're automatically putting yourself at a disadvantage because that's not who you are as a team. That's not what you guys practice day in day out, and that's not what got you here. Um, for just individual teams, um, the Aces need to rely on their championship experience. The Connecticut Sun, excuse me, stay focused on your defense. Um, the Lynx,
Link.
offensive efficiency, and then for the Liberty, um, your shooting, right? You got to do what got you here in the first place. Stay gritty, stay humble, stay hungry.
Amen.
I will say the top one through four, I expected seeds one through four to end up in the semis. So it ended the way that I thought it was going to. Um, I thought, I thought it was going to end this way in terms of the semifinals. Minnesota, man, that series between Minnesota and Connecticut, I think the Marina Mabry trade completely like is this really elevated Connecticut to that team that could possibly, but that could possibly compete with Minnesota. Minnesota's beast.
Well, yeah,
They've had a number all season, so that's a team also that can they can win it all also.
we're gonna ready to speak about Minnesota. Just to add
Okay.
in, that they're the next people we're gonna speak about. So it's funny.
Okay.
If I could just finish, or I'll finish on this. The three things I think they need are steady. I'm picking Vegas to win the series, but I think they're gonna need guard play. I think they're gonna need Asia to be Asia, and then I think they're gonna need, like to what Q was saying, is rebounding and defense. I think that they're gonna need the ability, to, like Becky Hammond was saying, to get timely stops in a timely manner. I think the guards need to play well for them to win in this series, especially because of the firepower that New York has. To what you were saying, Malika, and then I think Asia needs to just be herself, and I think that'll be more than good enough because she's easily the best player in the game, and it's not even a question.
Hmm.
So I definitely agree with you on those two things. Yeah. And shout out to everybody on TikTok. We just restarted it because they said they couldn't hear us. All right, now to move on, or to get to your point rather. So what do you feel like who do you feel like are the top three players on the court, or like the again, so some of the most determining factors in this Minnesota versus Connecticut series? And anybody
Um,
can start. Anybody else? Yeah,
you
anybody
can
can
go
start.
ahead, Star Q. Go ahead, Star.
1 second. I want to get everybody's name right, Miss.
Right.
Um,
Right. If you want me to go, I'll go first. There's no.
yeah, yeah.
So for me, I'm picking the Minnesota Lynx to win that series. I'm gonna go with Nafisa Collier as my number one. Obviously she's averaging 40 to start the playoffs. She had a 38-point game. She had a 42-point game. She's getting ready to win Defensive Player of the Year. And with the
I
Connecticut,
think they announced it.
yeah, well,
They did.
unofficially, it
Yeah,
was
last night.
unofficially announced, but yes, it was announced. But yes, she can guard everybody on the court, so she has that ability. And then the third thing I would say, so it'd be Fee, The second one will be Courtney Williams because they're going to need solid point guard play, and Alyssa Thomas is going to try and shut her down as well as Dejanay Carrington. But then the last thing I would probably say is you name any player off the bench, and they're going to need that player off the bench to do well because like that Minnesota bench is just stacked. And then I'll let y'all take it. What's good, Bug?
Hey, what's good, Jay?
What up, y'all?
Hey.
Maliika, Maliika, Bug.
How are
Hey,
you?
Maliika. I'll show
Um,
myself a little bit.
yeah, my background is my room, and it's not even at the right angle. I never show. I always wish at least I could put a picture.
It's cold in your house?
Huh?
I'm talking to JBoog. It's cold in your house?
Why you say that?
You got the beanie on.
It's wash day. You didn't see the messages? It's
No,
wash
I'm being
day.
funny. I'm being funny.
I'm conditioning right now.
She got the bandana like Deion Sanders.
See, that's why I was gonna leave my camera off because I already knew what was about to happen.
My fault. I can't help myself sometimes.
I'll let y'all go. Y'all funny.
Your what? My what?
Your full t-shirt. Your full t-shirt.
Oh, this says
Yours.
Asia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I need one of
and
those.
Angel and Camilla and
All
Jackie,
right, okay.
Chelsea.
Lean the other way. There we go.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my Skasis shirt. We're a little shaky right now, but we'll probably get into that later.
For me, for this series, I would say I'm picking Minnesota, but Connecticut. I mean Connecticut got a squad. I'm an Alyssa Thomas fan, so I love Alyssa Thomas. Dewana Bonner, Dejanay Carrington, Marina Mabry. They're a force, and then Brianna Jones. I mean they're a force, but I do see Minnesota winning this series. I think the keys, Nafisa Collier being Nafisa Collier, but they're playing Connecticut, who can play defense. So if they key in on Nafisa Collier, I think they have players that can step up, like Kayla McBride. They got Bridget. They got Courtney Williams. I think they just got so much firepower. It's going to be hard to slow them down offensively. I do like Connecticut's defense, but I think Minnesota comes out this series. But I'm not going to do the but. I see Minnesota coming out of the series.
Bug. We're picking who y'all got in the Minnesota Lynx series.
They're picking Minnesota. So honestly, that automatically makes me want to go ahead and pick the Sun, Connecticut, just because y'all chose. So I think I'm gonna lock in Connecticut because defense is wins championships.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's really hard to argue against that, and they score buckets too.
They do.
Thanks to Marina being there, yeah.
They're undefeated when she goes over 17 or 17 at least in a game. They're undefeated.
I'm picking Minnesota. Defense does win games, but Minnesota is really good. They have excellent ball movement. They take efficient shots. They miss sometimes, but it's not a lot of times they're taking just wild shots and they don't fall. So if McBride is not hitting her shot, Fee would average 40 last series. Not saying like Atlanta obviously is a different team or Connecticut is a different team than in Atlanta, but Fee is playing some of her best basketball right now. You just got scoring options. Courtney might get hot. You got Elena. What's her name from Australia?
Smith.
I mean, there is there. Like, I'm not gonna. I don't know if Connecticut can overtake Minnesota. I think that it's going to be a series. I don't think it's going to be a sweep for sure. I think it's going to be a series. It might come down to game 5. But I see Minnesota taking it.
Yeah, I'm with you for everything that you said and then some. I mean, Fee has just been crazy. She's the first person to ever average 40 points in any round of a WNBA playoff.
That's really tough.
Yeah, she put up 62 on 64% shooting, 62% from the 3-point line, and 40 points a game. Like she just.
Nafisa's a beast.
So
She's
better not
just
have.
playing great in the year that you have Asia being Asia. In Asia, just the most dominant season ever in W for any player.
So now I have a better question because like the chat brought this up. Should do you feel like I mean I think we all agree Asia should have won. I think she should have won unanimously. But do you feel like Fee should have got at least one vote?
No,
Okay,
No.
just wanted to see what y'all thought.
she was the rightful second. She's having an amazing season.
Mm-hmm.
The same year that Asia is just man, and she's clicking on all cylinders. You don't see, honestly, looking at Asia, you don't really see a flaw in her game. Like like she's a beast. She's this no, not this year. She was unanimous and should have been, and
I agree.
rightfully unanimous.
I agree. So let me I ask y'all this too. Same thing with Depoy. Fee should have got it over Asia. Same with the same thinking, I guess.
Can you
I don't
repeat
know
that
about
question
that
for me?
one.
Do you feel like Fee should have got Depoy over Asia?
Defensive player.
Nope.
I don't think I don't think so.
They had. I figured they were going to split the vote. Um, I know one of the voters, and like he was basically he had valid. He felt Nafisa deserved Depoy. He felt she deserved it. And he had like all these advanced metrics trying to prove out. Even though you look at Asia, I watched her games. I also watch Minnesota. I watch all games, not just the Liberty. And when you even the eye test, not just the stats, to me is Asia. But I had a feeling with Nafisa's amazing season that they were going to split the vote.
They got to give
And
her
and I'm
something.
not mad. I'm not extremely mad at it. With the unanimous Asia, unanimous MVP for Asia. That means she was MVP. She was the most valuable player, period, on both sides. So I'm not mad at it, but I figured they were going to split the vote out. And I'm not mad that Nafisa got deep boy. I'm not mad at it.
Mm-hmm.
Same. I'm not upset about it. She
Yeah, I
did
mean I'm
play
not
really
mad.
well.
I thought Asia was gonna win it though. But I could see how the voters kind of see it because she's a little more versatile because she could guard more multiple positions. But yeah,
You,
I really did think Asia was gonna win it.
DJ, you think that's what it came down to?
Yeah, and the fact that so it's like they're either Fee and Wilson are one or two
Mm-hmm.
in most defensive metrics. So like
Yep,
Fee
they are.
individual rating is number one, and then Asia's number two. Defensive win shares, Asia's number one, and then Fee is number two.
Yep,
So it's like it's weird,
he's
And
right
then
there.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so but yeah, I do think it's what it came down to, and I think voter. But then I think I'm like this. I'm like voters say, okay, we gave Asia MVP, let's give Fee Depoy. But then I'm like, but you chose her unanimously, which means that she was cut above everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
if she's in the running for defensive player as well, and she won unanimously, she should win. You know what I'm saying? By most metrics, she should win the defensive player of the year as well. If you're saying she's a cut above everyone else that's on the ballot, so I'm mad
Mm-hmm.
at it too. Asia too greedy. Hey, y'all gonna be saying Asia too greedy for the next 6 years. I'm telling you, she's not done winning.
How's she too greedy? She
She's
just
not.
playing ball.
She's not done
She
winning.
can't
She ain't
give
done
her
winning.
awards to herself.
Yeah, she ain't done winning. So she
Ava
gonna.
is just hitting her prime too. We're
That's what
gonna
I'm
get,
saying.
she's just hitting her prime. So we're gonna get more seasons of this Asia. People, I don't know if people can catch up.
Yeah, I don't think people are like I guess ready to experience what's about to happen for her in the next. This is her.
Hopefully,
You know, this.
hopefully she's not a victim of voters fatigue.
I feel like who Wilson is.
Asia.
I hopefully she's not because she again like a lot of people that we've been speaking to in the chat, they're like, oh, they brought that up too, Q. They brought up the voter fatigue. They're like, oh, what can she do next year to win MVP? And I'm like, she could literally average 30 and 12 and have a better season than she's doing now. And if her team wins, which they're gonna do, I don't see why she wouldn't win it again. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is it like? What is she not going to do to win the put herself in a position to win the award again? But it
Unless
goes back
a
to what you
player
said.
adds some pieces to their game and actually um actually competes for that award. Right now, I don't see it. Right now, what player could what current player going into their prime could stay healthy and compete? I know I'm not the one that's supposed to be answering the question, but and nobody has to answer it. You know what I mean? This is an honest question to this. For someone to beat Asia in MVP, what player can add a piece to their game and be good enough to compete with Asia for that award?
Well,
Right
it'd be
now,
Stewie and Fee.
Rafisa's the only one that's even close.
Yeah, well, and one of yours, Stewie. It'd be Stewie and Fee. Those I think.
I think, and I love Stewie. She's on my team. I just think that um, Stewie just turned 30. We'll see.
Yeah, it'd be. I feel like it'd be those
I'm
two.
not feeling like she's up there. She's not really like Stewie's not up there to that extent. So yeah, we'll see.
Q Ghost agrees with you. Voters with you. Hey, I agree. Like I heard, we were talking about that on live yesterday, and they were saying the same thing. I was like, but I said it's gonna be really hard. Then, like, what is she gonna do not to win it?
Yeah,
Let me
she
ask
just
y'all
turned
this.
30. I
Oh, go.
forgot
You
about
you
that.
can go.
Yeah.
I am. Let me ask y'all this before we kind of get into, I guess, something deeper. Or all right, it was about the Connecticut. All right, let's do this. What are your thoughts about? So I'm gonna just read the question. So it said, in light of the Connecticut Sun and Indiana Fever's call to end abuse from fans online, what do you feel like the WNBA can do to, I guess, protect the players better and protect and have more positive, respectful discourse and fan engagement around the game?
I,
I don't know if, oh, who was about to say something?
I was just
Well,
about
hey,
to
man.
say, go ahead. Go ahead, JBoog. I'm curious of what you got to say.
Well, I mean, I don't have an answer. I would say I'm not really sure what you can do as far as the internet because
Yeah.
like you can't police the internet. The internet can't police itself. Like it's not like is
Screen
very hard to do that.
profiles and all of that. Like,
Yeah, you don't know who these people are. You can't really
Mhm.
track them. I mean, you can look up their IP address. I mean, but I mean, honestly, it's not a whole lot you can do. But I think they can, which we're starting to see a little bit of, they can stand up for their players more. I think they can take the narrative and make it more positive if they're promoting their players more and giving and putting out more stories themselves on these players, making that prominent. That can kind of change some of the narratives that's out there. But as far as like policing them, I don't the W can't really do anything about policing them. I mean, other than just standing by them if they are saying something, standing by them and understanding that they don't tolerate it. But that's probably as far. Like, I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. My main issue was just I felt like the W was too silent when they're hearing about some things going on with their players that are receiving these things, and it's going as far as people are getting followed home or people are
Mhm.
showing up to their hotels or you
People
know,
ask them weird questions.
and before they had charter flights bothering them in the airport and doing stuff like that, and I didn't hear anything about the W really getting involved or saying anything. So at on that front, I just them speaking out and saying that they stand with their players and stuff like that, that's a start. But I mean they need to have conversations. I'm sure if they don't have that, they should be having some kind of uh what do you call it,
Discourse.
discourse, conversation, and a committee, like something where they're talking to these players, they're getting involved with these teams, looking at security measures, looking at something, something, whether it's at games or
mhm.
whatever it is, just so the internet doesn't turn into real life. Because we know I said this before, there's not like some people aren't all together out there and they think the internet is a real place and they think because they read something about this one player now they have to go attack this player in real life because of what they read or what they saw or what they thought. And so we
Mhm.
don't want it to get to that point. So at something maybe can be done before it gets to that point. I just don't know what that is, but I would like to see the W at least act like they're attempting to do something. A lot of this late they're putting out statements super late and it just doesn't seem, they seem like they're behind the eight ball, like they're not really concerned about it enough to make a full stand or make a full statement. So my I don't know, but I would like them to try or at least make an effort or act like they're making an effort. It doesn't seem to be that like right now.
How? All right, I'll let y'all go. I'm gonna just say these few things because I'm sure y'all. But I had a few things. So I'm like, some of the things that they could do. You could partner with a Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can speak to them and have more detection, like Brittany Griner mentioned, have more like detection based, I guess, software. So I don't know the
The
word.
algorithm or something.
There you go. Forgive me for that lack of knowledge or whatever. But she was talking about just having like when certain keywords pop in, like those get automatically filtered, creating stricter penalties. One thing I want to see the league do, like you said, I want them to speak up more about these types of things quicker, make more commercials, more ads. But one thing I think they can do is have like contests for like positive language. So like if they're like, instead of trying to like make it like punish people for doing the bad thing, why don't you like try to praise them for doing the right thing? So hey, you could do like meet and greets or like give merchandise or like give stuff away for people speaking and doing the right thing and trying to
Positive reinforcement.
recognize
Mm.
fans like hey, as a fan of the month, or here's some tickets to a game, hashtag challenges. Like they can use all of this fire and kind of make it into what they want it to be used to, because like now you have a bunch of people that are watching the league. You might as well make it into something positive, give them a reason to keep watching now. So I feel like they could, there's a lot they could do instead of just sitting there on their hands. There's something to there's something to be said for not giving these blanks oxygen. Get off on making the news. I hear you. So I hear you, and like I'll say this because like I talked about this today. They spoke about Aaliyah Boston, and there's a lot of people were saying, because she was saying that she got off of social media because of trolls online, but there's only so much you can like, I guess, turn the noise off to, because it's like when you hear this stuff, especially coming from us, all of us as minorities, and we hear all of this stuff and we keep seeing it. It's like it's one thing to just say turn it off, but like coming from our perspectives, it's a little different. It's like it's not something you can just always just turn off, but especially just us as minorities. I'll let you go. Say what are you gonna say, Q? And thank you for that, Ghost. I appreciate it.
I was just gonna agree with JBoog. I don't really know what you can do because majority of these incidents are coming from trolls or from racist or misogynistic people, even if they're not really racist. Oh, hold on, time out. Even if they don't really mean what they're saying, like they're still taking the opportunity to say these things just because they can. And the W does need to do something very soon because you don't want your league becoming a troll space, and that's where it's trending if they don't do something, um, to where people who just want to say something because they know it's going to affect the person directly, who they're saying it, they're just going to say it just to say it. And for the ones who are really like really 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 mean it, like the true racists and the misogynistic people, they're just going to keep going to these games because it's an easy way to air out whatever hate or ill will they have in their heart. It's like low picking fruit at this point. A lot of people love low picking fruit.
Yeah, and then
Well,
go. You could go. You please.
I remember last year, you think about Brittany Griner going through these airports. Um, After she was, her playing last season after her being released from Russia, from a Russian prison, and she was harassed repeatedly, and nothing was done. W didn't do anything about that. They may have provided extra security a little bit, but that's it. Um, and they barely addressed it, or didn't address it. This year, when you look at the amount of viewers that were tuning in to the games, the amount of tickets that were sold to these games, we have, I feel like the W has a commissioner that is there. Her first priority, of course, is the money, and she works for. You got to remember, the commissioner works for the owners, so like putting that all in mind, and the fact that the W really hasn't been profitable, and this year it looks like they were turning the tide. I'm not surprised the W waited until the Fever were out of the playoffs to finally put out a statement, to finally address some things. But in terms of policing fans online, I don't see what, yeah, maybe the detecting, or what does the NBA do when
Yeah,
NW?
I was just thinking that. What does the NBA do?
I just
They can
think
literally ask them.
this is new for the W. The W isn't used to getting this type of. The W is entering a new era where now they're being more exposed. Um, you have more fans tuning in, and to me, the Indiana Fever fans are basically is equivalent almost or worse than the Utah Jazz fans. That's who I compare the Indiana Fever fans to. And it's in the with the NBA you have 30 franchises, with the W you have 12. So you have less teams. You have one team that has some portions of their fan base that is, I know it's a little bit more complicated, but I felt like the W should have been doing more last year for Brittany that they didn't do this year. That they did, that they didn't do last year, what they tried to do this year with Caitlin coming in. I I feel like
Say
they're 12 teams. You have that fan base that is closely in love. To me, they're like almost like a Utah Jazz type. You have some good ones, you have some that um, may not align with the views of most W fans. And I don't know what can be done about it. I mean, you could speak out against it, but as the league grows, I unfortunately think some NBA people are not even on under their regular profiles. They don't even have regular profiles on social media. If they do, they may have that for public, but they have private profiles. They don't even mess with that profile. I think unfortunately you're going to see more of that with W players, because I don't think you can police the fans like that. You can basically keep your real profile on social media and keep it moving. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what you can do.
I think they should definitely take a look to see what the NBA does, because, like how you mentioned, um, pretty much every sports league has that one city or couple cities where you have racially abrasive fans. And for whatever reason, those fans choose that city. Maybe it might be geographical area. Maybe the face of the franchise is someone that they feel like they can really get behind. But yeah, just have a sit and talk with other leagues, and try to see what they do as far as prevention efforts, because NBA players been complaining about Utah for the longest.
And some portions of Boston, some portions of some fan bases, you know what I mean? Like, I
I
just,
like accused, like he didn't want to say it. He don't want you
yeah,
to bring that up.
I think that maybe, like the WNB, WNBAPA, the NBAPA should get together and talk about mental health and social media and help their players deal with the new reality of the W. Because I don't think this is going away. Next year, we got Paige coming in,
Oh no, it's definitely not going away.
and it's just going to continue to. I don't think it's going away, unfortunately.
I also think that low key, and I don't want to speak for the commissioner, but obviously her actions are kind of like that. I mean, all traction is good traction to her. Like if
Hmm.
people are speaking on the internet, whether they're harassing players or not, that's causing people to talk about the W or check out a
Yeah.
game or do whatever. And so she probably is not. She doesn't really
Not
care
concerned.
about that. Yeah, it's like
I think they see this as their magic Larry Bird era.
hmm
This is their era. You're going to have that division. And how do we grow and benefit from it? I think that's how they see it.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly, well, she didn't say exactly that, but that's kind of how she answered that question, was like, "Oh, remember Larry and Magic
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
whatever." Like, but these are people's lives. We're in a different era. We're in a different time. These are people's
Yeah.
lives, and you should be caring more about the well-being of your
Yeah.
of your players versus how much money they can bring in for you. I know it's exciting as an executive to like be seeing the money roll in and seeing the investors come in and seeing like all this stuff happen, but you can't throw your people away. They're the product. They're the reason why we're watching. They're the reason why there's a league in the first place. And if you are neglecting your people so much, they're not going to be around. And then what? So I
Before we
Hmm.
mean, you
move
kind of got to
on,
consider that.
She moving like this, man.
before
Low
we move
key.
on, I just want to say teams need to hire more security for their players. I think that's absolutely necessary because you do have, you do have. I think that's a need with the increase that with the movement you're seeing on social media. We need that. I think with Paige is an ally to um, the Black and LGBTQ communities. She's already had comments from some fan bases like the Fever. Um, they're not exactly extremely pro Page. So I don't think you're going to see that, Caitlyn movement. Like, you know
Mm-mm.
what I mean? Like, with Paige, it's just going to be a little different. But I think that she's going to bring. I'm curious to how they're going to promote Paige and Caitlyn next year, um, and how that's going to go. I wonder how UConn fans are going to support Paige when she enters the league. It's interesting. I want to see how where we go from here.
And Cam, once she's back, I mean,
Yep,
she
yep,
had
and
a
Cam.
following, and she's
Yep,
also an
absolutely,
ally. So it's going to be
absolutely.
interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
DJ, you muted.
Yeah, were you talking?
I'm silly.
Oh,
I was saying, speaking of where we're going from here, where does the Chicago Sky go to next? Obviously, we got the breaking news. We're on live when we're speaking about this, but I get your guys' opinion. What were your thoughts about obviously Teresa Weatherspoon? She's no longer with the organization. She got fired from the Skies organization, Coach Weatherspoon. So do you feel like this was fair, foul? Was it justified, unjustified? Should she have been let go? What are your thoughts? Anybody who wants to start first, I'll let y'all go.
With the Sky, what I will say real quick is that I felt like they hired the coach and the GM out of order. A GM is going to want their own coach, and they hired Teaspoon before they hired the GM. That right there was already a like an that already was a that was not the right order. Um, of course I love Teaspoon as a Liberty fan. Um, I feel like we don't know enough. I feel like yes, I feel like she had a great relationship with some of the players, but apparently there were some extra interviews that expressed problems with um, some of her coaching, some of her experience. I know Angel was disappointed, Kennedy was disappointed, um, but I'm curious. I don't know. I love Teaspoon. I would have liked to see her get another year, because I feel like she didn't even get. She was there 11 months and then she's out. Like, give her another year to see what she can do. But remembering that the GM was hired after her, and he probably wants his own coach in there. So maybe she was already on borrowed time. But I think the way they handled it and the way this was done was just ridiculous. She should have got another year to see if she can, affect the court the way she wanted to. She was dealing with injuries. You started the year with Camila out, and then the end of the year with Angel out. You had Kennedy that was out for some games. I feel like she should have got another year, but yeah.
I'm gonna read this, or I'll read some of it. Some of it. I'm heartbroken. I'm literally lost for words, knowing what this woman's meant to me in such a pivotal point in my life. She was the only person that believed in me, the only one that trusted me. Many don't even know what it's like to be a black woman in sports, and nobody believes in you. You had a tough job, all the crazy circumstances that we went through this year, and when your back was against the wall, you always believed. Came to Chicago because of you. You're an unsung hero in my life. We built a relationship in this amount of time that'll last forever. And I'm gonna keep going. Oh, it says move on. It says I love you, Teaspoon. Obviously, you didn't deserve this, and I can't thank you enough. So, if I guess the Q, if you want to go, but I just wanted to read her comments, just to have that on.
Um, I think in some cases you can see why coaches fired or like details come out to like leading up to a coach being fired that you can like really comment on, but you can't really comment on this because there wasn't a long enough, in my eyes, that there wasn't a long enough history, or like repeated kind of things to where you can be like, okay, this is probably what got her fired in my perspective. So I don't know enough about to say to say. Obviously, you should probably keep the players that your top players or your franchise players like. Um,
Yeah, you think? Yeah, that's a good point.
but
In the simple, it's true.
yeah, and the simplest you should probably give that coach a little bit more leeway, but this doesn't feel like from like a basketball move.
I'll let you go,
Yeah,
Bug, and then I'll go last.
well, y'all know I'm a Sky fan, and I crashed out pretty hard when I saw that. I had been hearing about it prior to that, just around because fans see stuff, and we kind of saw Angel's tweet, and I was like, is she getting hacked or what's going on? Because this, like, she seems real sad, and we don't know. She's not saying what's going on. And then people start to speculate, but I mean, I agree. Um, I don't think a year is long enough. I understand that they hired her after Ghost. No, hush, because you told me you were not going to troll me when I'm in my feelings. Don't do that today.
Yes.
Um, Shout out to Ghost. But I, and 1 year is not enough. Yeah, you hired her before you hired the GM, but and if he wants somebody else, then I just feel like she did make a rapport with your top players. Your top three scorers love her on the team. They played not the best, but exceptional. Kennedy said she made her a better player. Angel did all those things. She said she would not be successful if it wasn't for Teaspoon being her coach. Camilla started coming out of her shell and stuff after her injury because of the things that Teaspoon working
Yeah,
with her one on
absolutely.
one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how many coaches do that. They may, but she took time to work with Angel and Camilla during practice one on one. They would have practice and then she would take them separately and work on stuff just with them. So they have that special bond that they created that I would think that your organization, like Q said, you would consider our top three scorers, the people that, help this team at least still be in playoff contention until the very end, that we would consider them. And maybe let's see, Jeff, give her some notes. If you want her to do this, or if you think she should do that, or whatever, give her time to improve. And if she's not budging or if she's not doing it, then maybe year two, you let her go or something like that. Like, you got to give her a chance. Like, it's what she did, at least in my opinion, what she did with that team, although they weren't the best, they were never number 12 when they were ranked number 12. They never hit number 12. They started off being number 3 or number 4 because they had won a few games early on. They went down to 8 and they stayed in 8th for most of the season. And they went up to 7 and they went back down to 8. And they didn't fall out of 8th until half the team was sitting on the bench with injuries. Kennedy was sick. We already talked about Angel broke her wrist. When they started the season, Camilla was hurt, Izzy was hurt, Diamond was hurt. Then they start the season, they get Camilla back, and then E Will goes out with a full year injury. Diamond never got herself back. Izzy is still trying to fight herself back from being well and back where she needed to be. And then at the end of the season, Kennedy gets sick and Angel breaks her wrist. And then now Camilla hurts herself again. So you're dealing with all that. They went through 8 different lineup changes, all that, and still ended up throughout the season beating the Aces, beating New York, beating Seattle when they were the top teams in during that time when they beat them, beating top over 500 teams where some of the under 500 teams were getting blown out by them. So something they were doing at some point in time was right to where they were beating the expectations that a lot of people thought. Because when you think about a brand new coach, a brand new coaching staff, two rookie starters, a brand new team. Only two people were there from the previous year. Everybody else is gone. They don't really know how to play with each other well. They're trying to get together. No brand new team is going to go to the championship. Not It's not very often that they're going to go to the championship their first year. There's going to be things that they have to work through. So the fact that she got them to be at least eighth until, like I said, everything fell apart, she beat expectations. So I don't know what the front
Mhm.
office was thinking, or what expectations they gave her. The statement made it seem like they're upset that this is the first time that they're not in the playoffs, which they weren't supposed to be in the playoffs in the first place if you leave it up to the way that they were ranked. So I mean, I
Mhm.
think it's something else going on. Of course, we're not going to know. Like you said, we don't know enough to know what the real reason is. I just think from a fan's perspective and just someone that's been watching them, that you have a big majority of your team. Maybe some of the vets didn't like the way she was coaching. Maybe they didn't like the fact that now we're going to be post team versus being a guard heavy team. So now your role is changing. You're not going to be the first person that we're looking to score anymore. Maybe that's something they didn't like. Maybe they didn't like that. Maybe she was a little bit of a pushover. Angel said she should have been, I want her to be more mean. She was a little bit too nice. Maybe they didn't like that. I don't know. But
Mhm.
your core of your team loved her and they responded to her. And I think they would have worked through some things. It would have been a better team once they got the right pieces in place, but you didn't give her the chance to do that. So it's disappointing, but the more I learn about Chicago Sky organization, the more I learn that this is not something new for them. It's a reason why no good player has stayed with that team. Kalia Copper's gone. Candace Parker left. Elena Deladon left. Courtney left. I mean, you can who's still there? That's from championship team other than Diamond,
Nobody.
right? Diamond and Dana. That's it. And they weren't even with. They didn't stay with the team the whole time. Diamond didn't because she got hurt or whatever. But you got to think about that. So I mean, it's surprising, but the more I find out about the organization itself, it is not that surprising. So I mean, I feel for my rooks. I feel for the players that I really like. I mean, I'm always going to support them. Obviously Angel and Camilla are going to be there. They can't really go anywhere unless the sky releases them. But I just want the organization to figure it out, and whatever it is, they something's rotten there, and they got to get that out.
Mhm.
That's
This
that
definitely seemed like an off the court issue.
that was her when they drafted Angel Reese. She was telling them to trust the draft board, and let alone she helped them get the steal of the draft by
Yep.
getting this pick.
I just also feel like Teaspoon was able to unlock and tap into Kennedy Carter. That's
That
not
part.
easy to do. Every coach can't connect with Kennedy Carter. Kennedy Carter, her ability has never been questioned because on the court, you see the talent she has, but every coach cannot connect with her. And you had a coach that can. And I don't know. Like, this that's one of the one that's one of the reasons the move was surprising. I did hear some of the vets um, weren't exactly in love with her coaching style exactly via the exit interviews. I heard that that was kind of like feedback, but you got to look at more things than just that, And I think it was. I personally think um, we will never know. I mean, I don't think we'll ever know the full story. JBoog is the Chicago Sky fan here, but part of me is thinking old school. I want to pick my own coach is a big part of this, but I think they messed up here because who we'll see.
If I could, I'll say this. I think Maliika, what you said was really, really insightful, and I think that was one part that I kind of forgot about. Most GMs, when they do come in, they do want to pick their own everything, their own draft picks, their own coaches. They want to pick their own everything. They want to put their imprint on the team. They want to make their own trades. So that's a really great point that you brought up. Obviously, I think it's foul. I don't think she should have got fired for her first year head coaching. I didn't think that it was her fault that her team wasn't in the playoffs, and I don't think that the expectation where it should have been, or I don't think the expectation should have been for them to have a playoff fighting for playoff position, especially when you have when with knowing what they just came from. So I think that they were set up for or she was set up for failure, and then obviously the fact that her team got injured, and the fact that they were, to everyone's point about Kennedy, they all were competing for playoff. They were in playoff positioning, and like I said, once Angel went down, I said that team is not going anywhere. So I mean, it's crazy that they kind of put all these expectations on her to still. Now I asked two questions. So if they would have made the playoffs, would she have not been fired? And then the second question is who are they gonna they're gonna hire somebody, because they're not just gonna fire her without having somebody in the back of their mind knowing that they're gonna pick up. So I think that that's a part of, like, I think Maliika said it's like we something behind the scenes that we're not seeing, because I'm like they have somebody, some big name profile coach or something, because I'm like, why would you just fire her randomly? Because it was pretty random. So there's something that will be working on in the workings
that's the only thing that would make sense. Like, just to make an NBA comparison, it's kind of like when Jason Kidd was the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, and they abruptly fired him, even though Giannis loved Jason Kidd as a coach, as a head coach, and then that they hired Mike Budenholzer, and then boom, they win the championship.
2 years later. Yep, that's what I think too. So maybe y'all gonna get Kurt Miller, Bug. You never know.
I mean, I don't know.
Bill Lambier.
I worry that, I mean, maybe Jeff does have somebody in mind. And I mean, if we get a coach that is really good and can connect and not only connect with the players, had know what to do with the X's and O's and stuff like that, that'd be awesome. But I worry that with all the stuff that people are learning or may know from the inside about this organization, I mean, are we going to be able to get a good coach that is going to be there? Are they worried that they're going to get fired in 1 year if they're not doing what they're supposed to do? I mean, obviously they have more insight than we do just looking on the outside, but it's kind of like you're looking at that. You're looking at their track record and saying, well, what is it about this team? Even when they won a championship, none of those people wanted to stay and play there. What is it about them trying to get free agents that don't want to go there? What is it about not being able to keep coaches or whatever? So I worry about that. So I mean, he might have somebody in mind as his buddy or somebody that he knows he's been talking to, and he's assured whoever that is that you do have a future here in Chicago. This just had to happen because I had you in mind from the beginning. Teaspoon just didn't work out, and maybe they'll come here. So I mean, hopefully they have the team and the players' best interest at heart, and it's not. I mean, I don't know. I don't want some high paid person coming in just because that's a friend of Jeff's and that's what they want, that's what he promised or whatever. I want somebody that's actually going to do something with the team and build on some of the stuff that maybe Teaspoon started, as far as like some culture and team building and things like that, and can take it to the next level, because I think that's what this team is going to need. Whatever it is, they're going to have to start with relationship building first, especially if you want the buy-in from your franchise players. If it and I don't even know if Kennedy's coming back. I heard that um, it didn't seem a strong reaction that he wanted to bring Kennedy back. So I don't know if that's just people perception or if that might actually happen. But I don't know.
One of the things I was gonna say. So which one call it? Ghost asked the question, who are some candidates? And that's funny that he said Pokey Chapman, because that was one of the first names that I had thought of. I'm like, that would be one of the first calls I would make. She's hanging around the W with the Seattle Storm. Make a call. If you're looking for something new, you could go with, I would pick one of the two Las Vegas Aces assistants, whether you're talking about Coach Ty or you're talking about Natalie. I forget how to I'm going to mispronounce her name. Nakase, please don't
Nakasi, I think.
Thank you, Nakasi. Thank you. I would look into one of them. I don't know if Kim Mulkey would want to coach in the W, and I would say this. I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not gonna. I'll say this like this, right? I don't think that Chicago would hire, and this is the issue. Why I don't think that anybody I named outside of maybe Pokey has a good chance. My thing is Chicago gonna fire a first year head coach to bring in another first year head coach? The answer is most likely no. So they're going to look for somebody with veteran experience, which is why I think a Pokey Chapman would be great. Indiana should have made that call already.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean,
We don't know this organization. I'm shaky on the organization. I just don't know.
I already told you how. I mean, but I told you at the beginning of the year what happened. So I hear
I
you. I
hope
hear
you're
you.
not leaving LSU.
Yeah, and then that's what I'm saying. Well, the same thing with Mulkey is like, would she want to leave to go coach in the W? And then again, would you want her to coach as a first year head coach in the W versus just getting somebody more experience? Um, yeah, it's tough. Like, I mean, Tamika Catching, Cheryl Swoops. I've heard several names, but I'm like, again, I wouldn't see them bringing in another first year head coach. So let me ask y'all this: if y'all had
It's going to be
go ahead.
somebody more experienced. I just, for some reason, Kurt Miller's not a name I would put there. Um, and I don't, would Kurt Miller want to go there with the history of the Chicago Sky? Um, for some reason, I'm seeing Kurt Miller with, I could see him with the new franchise. But he
Golden
has a
State.
whole lot of rookies. So I don't know. We don't know where Kurt Miller's going to end up. Maybe he'll take a year off. Who knows?
I don't think he'll be with Chicago. I think whoever Chicago has, they're trying to wait for the deals to finalize. Like I feel like they already know who they're gonna hire, and they're just waiting to kind of like.
Well, they don't have much time because whoever they get in, they got to get them in pretty quickly. We don't. It's not a big turnaround from when the season's ramping up. You got to get them in here, and you can't get them in January and think they're going to be ready for April. Like you got to get them in here pretty quickly.
So I guess to round off, I mean, if you have any closing thoughts, we can kind of circle back and end from there.
Um, my closing thoughts, y'all know what I usually say, but I'm a little shaky on my Sky, but I still love my players. But it's go Aces because we in the playoffs right now, in the thick of it. I don't know if y'all talked about it. Who did y'all pick between New York and Vegas? Did y'all talk
Everybody's
about that?
picking New York. I picked Las Vegas. Everybody's
I
picking New
picked
York.
Las Vegas.
I'm a Liberty fan.
Liberty.
Everybody
Oh,
on
New
okay.
York all
I'm
the way.
picking
Let's
New
get
York
it.
too, Boog. I'm
Okay.
with you on Vegas.
Okay. I'm it's gonna be a real good series. Like we already know what happened last year. It came down not necessarily to the wire, but pretty much to the wire. Um I'm excited for it. I mean, New York is in my opinion, a way better team than they were last year. Um
I agree.
so I mean it's gonna be a battle. I mean, I'm obviously gonna go for Vegas, but if anybody can take Vegas out, obviously, I would say New York is the one that could do it. So we shall see how it goes. But go Vegas for me. Shout out to Asia for all the stuff that she's done this season, and hopefully we'll see her um, some more of that happen in this series because we need it. And yeah, Chicago Sky organization, I need y'all to get right.
Hmm.
Y'all
I
need to
heard
get right.
if I could, I heard they got rid of a bunch of admins there too. It's not just the
Yeah,
coach
the
that got
social
fired.
media person, and he said he was going to speak once he gets his mental right. So he
So
might be singing a little bit. I'll be front and center.
I'll be making some calls.
I'll be front and center for that.
We're closing out the pod right now because
Yeah.
I just wanted to say a few thoughts on you have a question that you sent me. Does Caitlin Clark deserve to be compared to legends like Serena Williams, Simone Biles, and Katie Ledecky? What I will say is I just want to be balanced when
We
it
were talking
comes
about
to
that in the group
Caitlin
chat.
because Caitlin's talent on the court. I watched her at Iowa. I watched her with at the beginning of the season. After the Olympic break, after that rest, like her fan base was like, she should be in Olympics, she should be in Olympics, she should be in Olympics. Man, that Olympic break, she came out that Olympic break, and my goodness, like after post Olympic break, Caitlin was a different Caitlin. I respect her game. I believe in terms of comparisons, you can look at how they impacted their sport in terms of viewership. Um, all eyes are not in terms of winning, Ghosts, not in terms of winning, because Caitlyn hasn't won anything yet. She has all these records, but she hasn't won a championship. She hasn't gotten that thing. In terms of bringing people to watch the sport, there's no doubt Caitlyn was a major part of that. You did have Angel bring people to the sport in terms of attendance. If you look at these attendance records, I mean, I wish the W did a better job of showing how many tickets did Angel sell at some of these arenas. I know sometimes when you look at the Chicago arena, it may not look as full, but when they went to other arenas like in New York, there was a lot of people there with
Sure.
Angel Reese jerseys as well. You know what I mean? Like, I think they could have done a better job of publishing stuff like that. But I think that Caitlin, she's not a winner yet. You can't compare her to those people in terms of winning in all these people, especially Caitlin Decky is ridiculous. Like all three of these women are insane in their sport in terms of winning. Caitlin isn't yet. She's not a winner yet. And with her sport, she needs four teammates to help her get. You're comparing people that are they rely on themselves to win. Simone can win it all around on her own. She doesn't need her teammates for that. KD the same thing. Same thing with Serena. Caitlin needs four teammates on the floor with her to win a championship. And Serena's got level in tennis, but Serena's one person. She only has to rely on herself. I think that's a big difference between comparing Caitlin, who hasn't won anything, to with her team, to people who only have to rely on themselves and are winners. So I just wanted to say something on that because I do appreciate Caitlin's talent and what she brings to the court, but she hasn't won anything yet. And like until she wins something, she can't get that comparison. Um, Not even to some of the greatest W players yet. Yes, she's a great solo player, but great players win championships, and she hasn't done that yet. So I just wanted to say something on that. And go Liberty. Do not disappoint me. I am I am a Brooklyn Nets fan. I need a championship to get me through this horrendous season. Good thing is I watch I have NBA League Pass, so I can watch any team I want. So except for the Knicks because they're in my area. But I can watch any team. So I'll be watching the NBA as a whole. But I'm a Nets fan. It's going to be not the greatest season. So Liberty, let me go into the NBA season with give me something. And I like the Aces, but you're playing a Liberty. So
We would have
Liberty,
had
let's get
fun
it.
last season.
Liberty, let's get it. Sabrina, if your shot's not falling, take your ass to the cup like you've been doing. Like, sorry for cursing. Like,
You
go,
great. You go.
like, do your floater, get to the bucket. Like, your shot's been shoddy, the 3 point. And Fevich, do not get in foul trouble. We need you the entire game. Don't let the aces foul get you in foul trouble so you don't have to deal with your limb. Like, remember you're a vet in this game. You're not a real rookie. And I'm
All right, back. Q, you up? You want to go?
Nah, none. I just, like I said, aces all the way, beginning of the season. The New York Liberty, it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta face big sis knock you out. It just is what it is. Just like in NBA, when Brooklyn Nets gotta face the Celtics, Big Bro gotta knock you out. It is what it is.
Serena in a league category like Muhammad Ali and Pele, they need to name some streets after Serena. I agree with you. The reason for that question, Maliika, Boog, Q, they're on a group chat. We know some, I guess we know a journalist that's writing a book on Caitlin Clark's impact.
Oh God. Ugh.
Yeah, no, to women's sports, and so I guess like we were saying, you make sure you include Serena in that boat too. So that was my comment. So I was like, I don't think she's the sole reason for women's sports being revolutionized. So I was like,
She's doing it for the money. She's only doing it for the fame and money. She sees an opportunity to make some dough.
That's what somebody else said. That's literally what somebody else said.
You talking about the author, the lady who's writing the stuff?
I don't know who
Yeah,
y'all
Christine
talking
Brennan
about, but
is a
that's
legend.
that's
She
what
is
that
a
yeah, that's
legendary
what.
journalist. She did some good work in the past, but today I don't know what the hell. Like history is history. What she is today, who is this person?
Yeah, I don't know, because I know Christine, so I ain't saying too much. But that's where all this kind of stemmed from, this question. But what I guess my final thoughts were, it was one or two of them. Diana Taurasi, if this is your last year, I hope it's not. I hope you stay around for the new CBA and get as much money as you can. Something like that. And if it is your last years, I just want to say thank you for watching you, and I appreciate your game. Appreciate you for taking time to speak with fans before the game. I appreciate you for being as fiery on the court as you are. I appreciate you for being competitive and making it fun to watch. And I just appreciate for everything that she's done for the last 20 years, bringing excitement to the women's game. So that would be my closing thoughts. And then the last one would be, I guess, yeah, we'll just end it there. That's my closing thoughts. So shout out to DT.
Cool.
I appreciate you. Boog, Q, Maliika, appreciate everybody for being on. That's episode 33. Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Go Aces.
This was fun. I appreciate you guys inviting me on. I appreciate you guys inviting me on. This was fun.
Amen. I appreciate that, y'all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.